sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
If you're an entrepreneur and your business is not yet registered, if you're looking to grow your registered business, or you're an accomplished professional, our Elevate program supports you with access to finance, access to markets, access to capacity building. Sign up now or refer a friend at ecobank.com/elevate. Elevate by EcoBank. A better way, a better Africa.
Opposition politics in the Gambia has reached one of its most consequential moments in the run-up to the December presidential election. Coalition 2026 has produced its flag bearer in Talib Ahmed Bensouda, but that outcome did not come without disagreement. One of the men who had entered the process as a contender, Essa Faal, withdrew shortly before the final selection. His departure immediately raised questions that go beyond one candidate and one political disagreement. What did he believe the coalition process should look like? What was at stake in the proposal he put forward? Why did he conclude that he could no longer remain part of the talks? And now that the coalition has moved on and chosen its flag bearer, where does Essa Faal and the APP Sobeya he leads go from here? Well, Faal had previously argued for a genuine opposition coalition rather than simply rallying behind an already anointed candidate. So having walked away from the process, he has a chance this morning to explain his position directly to Gambians and to tell us whether there is still a path toward a wider opposition cooperation before December the 5th. Let's face Essa. Essa, welcome back to Coffee Time.
Thank you, Peter, for having me. As always, you have a way of making it super interesting. Yes,
we are Saints boys.
Yes, indeed, Rector Sapere. Thank you.
Let's begin with the decision that brought you here this morning, your decision to withdraw from Coalition 2026 just before the flag bearer was chosen. What exactly happened?
Well, Peter, I have extensively narrated blow by blow the events that led to the departure of APP.
There are listeners who only listen to West Coast Radio and nowhere else. And I'm being very honest. Just as I'm sure there are listeners who only ever listen to other radio stations that are not West Coast Radio.
So I have tried to explain exactly what had happened. I had said to myself, we're going to move away from this discourse, this issue. Because at the end of the day, it's a non-issue. Why is it a non-issue? Political parties engage in coalition negotiations and they leave. They are always at liberty to leave as and when they want, as and when they think that things are not going their way, or that for principled reasons they do not agree with certain developments in the process. And for Coalition 2026, or the participants to that process, it's no different at all. At one stage, we were about 21 participants. One by one, they left. It led to no hullabaloo. It led to no big questions. Things continued as normal.
Yeah, because none of them was called APP Sobeya and led by Essa Faal.
So it astonished me that my departure from that coalition evoked so much talk this way or that way.
Could it have been, because of the timing?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The important thing is people are always at liberty. Parties are always at liberty to walk from the table.
Absolutely, I agree.
Look, UDP walked from the coalition 2026.
It generated its own conversation.
Its own conversation.
So every withdrawal with its own conversation.
Yes.
And Essa by Faal's withdrawal, what was the sticking point precisely, talking?
Look, there were 4 issues that we raised. There were a lot of other sticking points, but there were 4 issues that we raised. We raised the issue, the fact that we could not deal entirely with the power sharing arrangements, but let's sort out the issue of the vice presidency, because you don't want to sign up to a coalition, agree everything, and then later on you have disappointments. So I said this issue, the issue of the vice presidency and running mates, should be sorted out. I think that is a fair point.
Did you say it for the very first time, that very morning?
No.
That's the impression.
No.
This was...
Far from it. In fact, the Thursday we met at former VP's house, I said these issues need to be sorted out. Nobody said a thing. I think it was Professor Mbalo who nodded to say, yes, it has to be sorted out. So we raised it. All right? But that was not the reason for my departure.
It wasn't?
No. You see, my letter stated 2 important issues: procedural issues or process issues, and then substantive issues. The 2 process or procedural issues we raised were that the issue of vice presidency should be sorted out. All right? Some people are saying it was intended to benefit me. No, I was going to win that election.
Everybody was saying that.
But that is false. That is absolutely false. For the simple fact that I have had meetings and conversations with Talib and his people. For me, the issue of vice presidency was never an issue for me. It was never an issue for me. And if they are honest, they would know that that was never an issue for Essa. But let's put that aside for the moment. When you are presented with a set of facts, you choose the one that most favors you and you run with it. That's exactly what they did. But I would show it. I raised the issue of voting and participation for a group that had left but came back to rejoin.
Oh, okay.
They refused. But if you look at our write-ups, provision was made for groups that had left to come back. So why would they be rejected? Those are the first 2 points I raised, that procedurally this thing is wrong and we disagree.
Of those who tried to come back, was UDP one of them?
No, not UDP.
Okay.
Not UDP. So then I raised 2 substantive issues. One is, we have received information severally that Unite will not accept any outcome apart from Talib Bensouda being flag bearer. They told me in my house, because we were discussing and
if you don't want to name names, are these people?
No, I will name names.
Okay.
I will name names because I have nothing to hide. What I am saying is true. I don't lie. What I am saying is true, and I swear to God that what I am saying is true. I have no reason to lie about these things. For me, these are not political games. I'm just speaking my truth. I told Aziz that, okay, I am willing to offer Talib.
Aziz is what?
Aziz is Talib's elder brother,
okay,
the lawyer for for Unite,
So as his
and
counsel.
one of his main counselors and his chief negotiator. And we'll come to Aziz's position. All right. I told him that, well, I am even willing to offer Talib something beyond vice presidency. We can change to have prime minister position. I say, and the reason why I'm doing that is to prepare him better to become president later. And as he said to me, but we can offer you the same. I swear to God. And I laughed. And then he said, but Mr. Faal, the problem we have is that we have for more than 3 years invested heavily to make Talib president. We cannot change that. That is what he said. I said, well, I was in this since 2021, and I can say the same thing. So we left it at that. Then we moved on to some other conversations, and we agreed that, okay, they will do something, I will do something, and then we will regroup. So I leave it at that. That statement is very profound. You think that I will enter into a race with someone who is telling me that I will accept only one outcome, which is him leading. Hamga, so ko said lo sa Peter, Yabateh gu rëy la.
But when did he tell you this? When did this conversation take place?
This is in my house.
When? Was it on the morning of the selection?
No. This was about 10 days before, thereabout. Okay.
Didn't you think then that you owed it to the CMC, that's what it's called, yeah? The Coalition Mediation Committee, to tell them about, this conversation between the two of you? Because it was already undermining the whole process, wasn't it?
No, not yet. Because I thought that we were going to continue our conversations. That's why I said they were going to do something, and I was going to do something, and we'll reconvene. I didn't say what that was, because I don't want to be the person coming to divulge unnecessarily things that have been discussed.
But you people have to be open to us. You have to,
Look,
you're asking us to trust you with the future of our country, our own destiny.
Look, what happened here is I had offered him something, and they offered me the same thing. So we have a stalemate.
Of course.
Okay? So I said to them, since we are negotiating, you write, if you were to be my vice president, what exactly is it that you would want? Write it down. I too would write exactly what is I would want if I would be your vice president. We put that down, and then we discuss and see how to craft something. I was trying to solve a problem, because this is negotiations. Negotiations cannot be solved through looking at the positions of the parties. You solve it through looking at the interests of the parties. So I was trying to move our negotiations from positions to interest. So I said, write your interest, I will write my interest. We will put it down and discuss. We never did. Okay, so as at that time, we believed negotiations were ongoing.
Was the UDP still part of
No, UDP had already left.
Okay.
At that time, it was clear. Everybody was saying it, that this coalition is all about APP, Sobea, and Unite. Everybody knew that. Yes, there were other entities, but to be quite candid, the main thing was APP, Sobea, and Unite. So then afterwards, before going for the final date, we asked Aziz Bensouda, what is your position on this? You had told us that you can accept only one position, only one outcome. Then he confirmed it. And we have the text messages. He confirmed it. So when we made when we wrote our letter of withdrawal, look, Peter, we took this process seriously. Whatever we do it seriously. Ask anyone who participated in the coalition talks. If Essa is not there, everybody would miss him because of the contribution I was making, what I was putting on the table. You know? In fact, some people said that if I was there, perhaps it would not end the way it ended. But I was away for weeks, you know, traveling around African capitals, speaking to heads of states and so forth about important matters at the International Criminal Court.
Playing president before being president.
Look, I was asked to help the International Criminal Court. So, and this is important for international criminal justice. So I left my politics and went on this.
The withdrawal letter, when was it written?
It was written the night before.
Oh, okay. So you had already made up your mind.
No. I had an executive meeting, and we decided that if these 4 issues are what they are, then we'll withdraw. Okay? The night, on Thursday, I had told them about the issue of this vice presidency needing to be sorted out. You know, in fact, I wanted the whole power sharing lot to be sorted out. Because you going into a coalition agreement and you want to select a flag bearer and then you leave power sharing, you then leave the coalition partners at the mercy of the flag bearer.
Yeah, if they eventually become president.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I do not want that. We recall what happened coalition 2016. So we want to avoid all those at all costs.
Were you given a reason for the rejection of the proposal, the vice presidency proposal?
No, not at all. In fact, some of our documents talk about running mate. You know, so but the thing is, I wasn't there when it was presented. My assistant.
So what was your proposal about? Because running mate and vice president are 2 different things.
But can be the same thing.
They can be the same.
Exactly.
But they can equally be 2 different things. Because we don't have running mate in a
constitutionally.
In a setup.
Constitutionally, we don't.
Yeah.
But because Gambia's constitution does not deal with coalitions. Okay, but we are going to deal with coalitions, so we want to do it properly. Identify who would be who, because these people are going to spend their time, energy, and resources in the campaign. You see, so therefore.
So you'd have done your power sharing, everything before you embark on the campaign.
Exactly,
Yeah,
precisely, because otherwise it creates problems later.
Yeah, as you said.
And the thing is,
we saw happen with Coalition 2016.
And the thing is, during the coalition talks, ask everyone. Whenever I say we have to do this, we have to get the sequence right, otherwise we'll have problems. They don't. Later, we hit those problems. And people. So I was avoiding problems. That's why we raised it. But let's go back to the 2 issues that caused our departure, the 2 substantive issues. One is the statement by Aziz that, yes, this is their position. All right? But another thing is, because a friend of mine, who is in our team, he's one of our logistics officers, was in a ceremony with one of the Bensouda family guys. And they said they're not going to accept Essa as flag bearer. It's got to be Talib. He came and told me on Friday, I met these guys, they cannot accept anybody apart from Talib. I said, these people are joking. Then what are they negotiating? Remember, UDP came to the talks and they wanted party-led. They did not say that UDP must lead. They say we want a party to lead. Unite and us rejected it. We all argued vehemently against it. And they turned around to tell me that our family, we have invested for over 3 years in making Talib president. And therefore, they cannot change that. It's therefore got to be Talib. Who are you?
How many years did you and your family invest in trying to make you president?
Well, I was in it since 2021.
So that would be 5 years.
Exactly. But this is not anybody's inheritance. We are talking about our country. We want the best person to lead. You're telling me that we have invested so much in this, we cannot afford to let somebody... Look, and it's the same thing that led to his departure from the UDP. Let's look at it. He challenged for flag bearership. It caused a huge hullabaloo. He says, okay, I am going to leave because I'm not going to be flag bearer here. And listen to the statements that they make. Since they left UDP, they're saying, coalition or no coalition, we are going, we are running. So, I'm not lying, I'm not fabricating these things. The records are there.
By looking at you straight, I'm not suggesting you are.
Yes,
right.
I'm saying for the listeners.
In our profession, you know,
yes.
You have to maintain eye contact as much as possible.
I agree. Yes. But I'm saying this for the listeners. Let anybody go through the record. Yes. It's always been their intention that Talib must run. And I have no problem with that. Okay? But if you must do so, be very honest about it. Don't go into a coalition. Because by going into a coalition, you are ceding the possibility that it could be somebody else. But if you harbor deep down a policy, a decision that it must be you, then it is dishonest to the coalition party.
But was withdrawal your only option?
Yes. Because we were coming to decide who is going to lead. And then we had information that people were bought.
How do you mean people were bought?
Yes, they were induced to decide to vote a particular way. In fact, some of the guys, when I arrived, one of my boys said, some of the people who came to vote do not even belong to the organizations they came to represent. No. They were brought specifically.
Seriously?
I swear to God.
Where was the CMC?
But
couldn't they have carried out a verification?
Look, you know, when I made my statement and I left, I do not know what happened after that, except what I was told. The CMC also. Look, all these allegations of bribery, this thing having been bought, this being a done deal, it's done and dusted. The rumor was rife in town. Everywhere I turn, people will tell me. I'm telling you. I have text messages even before telling me that suma haji gay egal nañ la jaay nañ affaire bi bil lubal nañ ko labaj nañ ko. These are the kinds of things we were hearing. But we have proof, cogent proof, that this is the case. So when my guys went there, and in fact one of my teammates had a conversation with one guy. He says, bro, are you young? Mane guy dañ ma indi pour ma ñew sanel ki.
So each party, I mean, how many votes did...
3.
Okay.
So what happened was, the leaders, they dumped the people they were with throughout the process. And they were given, if you want to secure the vote, you give them the person to vote. These are things that happened.
Goodness me.
So for us, we got there. In fact, there was also another problem surrounding Hassan Martin. Hassan Martin.
The spokesperson.
Yes. Hassan Martin was a very big supporter of Talib throughout his mayoral races. When he left UDP, Hassan was a big critic. He criticized him severely, saying that what he was doing was political suicide. No bi dafa yakamti, fogg nga ne lu nekk mun nga ko jënda, fogg nga ne lu nekk xaalis la. That was Hassan Martin. When he was brought to this process, Hassan Martin changed, he metamorphosed into something completely different. Telling members of the CMC, lii kañ nañ ko jox Talib rek.
Hello?
Yes.
Seriously?
I am telling you. In fact, when I returned from my trip, the chairman wanted to resign.
Professor Mbalo, Yerom Mbalo.
Yes, he wanted to resign. I heard about it. He called me, Mr. Faal, anyway, man, I am going out of this. I asked why. He complains. Amongst the complaints he gave me was that, look, this guy is not an honest broker, Hassan Martin. But look, for me, I said, no. Look, Hassan is contributing in the process. Okay, he does not have much powers. Let's just leave him to continue. That's what I said. And I encouraged Professor Mbalo to also continue. And he did. But, look, even when I was called to, we were called to interviews. During my interview, he wasn't interested in what I was saying. He had made up his mind. But look at it, the qualifications. It's like, you cannot even compare. It's like apples and oranges. But there was Hassan. I could see the body language.
What did it say?
His body language was, look, it's Talib, it's Talib, it's Talib. But look at what happened. Hassan metamorphosed into a big Talib supporter. Why did that happen? The rumor was that he was giving money. And I will not be surprised if he was giving money. I don't know whether he was, but I will not be surprised. So, because how could one account for the sudden radical change? How could one account for that? It's only because money has changed hands. So, Hassan continued supporting Talib. That is why, when the chairman and the chief mediator left, who was there to do the coronation? It was Hassan Martin. He cannot leave.
You call it a coronation?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you make of Coalition 2026
Well,
in its current form then?
It is what it is.
What is it? I do not know.
Okay, the thing is, you go into a coalition with political parties. There is no political party there. It's Unite and some organizations, some of which are not even registered. They have no standing. Okay, there's a history to how these organizations came there. They were brought there as some form of padding in order to bolster opportunities of one or another entity to win at the end of the day. That's what we saw. But for us, we believe that a lot of these organizations, I swear to God, put inducements aside. All these organizations were going to support us. But for this inducement, things changed. Look, you have a person there. He claims to have an organization. Cannot pay rent. Cannot pay school fees. Does not have a car. Does not even have a bicycle. I am sorry, but I hate to say this, but this is the truth. Okay? And they are given the opportunity to make money. You think they would think about some of the things that we do? They take it.
Someone, listening to your account will say the whole idea of Coalition 2026 was nothing but personal ambition versus collective interest. So some were there just for their personal ambitions, whereas, you had the whole country believing that these people are in it for collective interest.
In my withdrawal,
do you think you have disappointed, the Gambian voter, those who look up to,
big time,
the process,
big time,
as something that was going to be credible and yield, an acceptable, outcome?
Big time. In my withdrawal process statement, I said to them, you see, we are all here at a very crucial stage in our country's development. We owe it to the Gambian people to do what is right. But there's been massive inducements such that this process is no longer credible. As such, we have no choice but to leave. So these two fundamental issues. But look at also the connection between the two issues. It must be me. And then everything is done to ensure that result.
Okay. All right.
So
that point has been clearly made.